Okay, so we've set up the file, right, 11 by 17, and we're working on making these Dutch barn transformation patterns. But the first thing that we have to do is create a grid um, so that we have a way to place the center of each transform on the page, the way that the sample is that you'll see in class. And the way that I do that is I just drag out guides to specific places on the page. But in order to do that, I have to turn on the ruler. So there should be rulers on the left side, and there should be a ruler across the top. And if that's not what you're seeing, then you're just going to go View, Rulers, Show Rulers. And so now you'll see that I have a ruler that runs across the top of my page, and I've got a ruler that runs across the left-hand side of my page. So the first thing that I want to do is I'm going to drag 6 guides out onto the page. And you'll notice that the left side of my page is aligned with 0 at the top ruler, and the top of my page is aligned with 0 on the left side, on the ruler on the left. And if your page is not aligned that way for whatever reason, you're going to have to align it so that the left and the top are at the 0 point. That's the 0 point right there. And the way that you're going to do that is there's a place here in the upper left corner between the two rulers that has a small little like X in the middle of it. And I'm just going to drag that down, and I'm just going to make sure that it intersects the top left corner of my page. And when I let go, it should set the 0 point at that top left corner. So that's kind of an important thing. And then so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to drag a guide out onto the page. So I'm just going to I'm clicking and dragging from inside the ruler, and you'll notice that it starts to drag a guide out onto the page. And there you can see the guide, and when I click off of it, it's a light blue, and when I click on it, it becomes a dark blue. Now I want to precisely place these guides on my page. So I'm going to go Window, and I'm going to go down to Transform. And so you'll notice here's my Transform palette, and X, right, equals the value that goes horizontally across the page, and Y equals the value that goes vertically up and down the page. So I'm clicked on my first guide, right? I'm just making sure that first guide is selected. And the X should be showing me that that guide is right now at 1.48 on the page. And if I highlight that and I just type in 2.17 and I hit return, you'll notice that it has moved my guide to where I asked it to, 2.17. And so I'm going to go ahead and do that with 5 more guides because we want to have 6 rows. So again, I click and drag, right? And I'm just going to drop it on the desktop, on the pasteboard, and it's dark blue, so it's already selected. And I should just be able to highlight and then type in my next coordinate, which for the next one is 4.7, and then hit return, okay? And I'm going to drag out another one, and it should be selected. It should be darker blue, and I'm going to highlight the X coordinate, and I'm going to type in 7.2 and then hit return. And I'm just dragging out another one, and it's highlighted. And again, I'm going to highlight whatever value is in X, and I'm going to type in 9.73 and then hit return. And I'm going to drag out another one, right? Highlight the value, 12.25, and then hit return. And I'm going to drag out one more, right? And then the value for that last row, or that last horizontal, dragging that out on the horizontal is 14.7. And then I hit return. So I now have the different rows, right? The rows across, spaced horizontally across the page. And now I'm going to do the same thing to space 4 guides up and down, right, the page. And again, I do the same thing, but I'm going to drag from the top, right? I'm going to drag from the top ruler. So I'm going to click and drag, right? And so I'm going to change the y coordinate for this one, and the y coordinate for the first one is 1.7, and I just hit return. Again, drag, right? And then my second one, the y coordinate is 4.27, and hit return. And then I'm going to drag back down, right? And it's the highlighted one, it's the dark blue, and my y coordinate is 6.73, and I hit return again. And then I'm going to drag back down, right? And for that last guide, I'm going to type into my y coordinate, right? 9.21, and then hit return. So if I need to move a ruler longwise across the page, it's the x coordinate. If I need to move, a guide, and if I need to move a guide up and down on the page, it's the y coordinate. So we've created a page and we've created our grid, and each of these these little transforms that we're going to make, they're basically going to happen right at the intersection wherever a guide intersects. And this would be a great time. I'm going to say File. I'm going to save it. I'm going to go to the desktop, right, where there's my folder that I made, and I'm going to call it my last name _ pro for project 1. So, and it's .ai, which means it's an AI file. This is all good. I'm going to hit save. Not going to change anything in the options, and I'm just going to hit OK. And so now you'll notice up here at the top, the file's now named my last name pro 1, right? And it's in the folder where it's supposed to be. So next we're going to just kind of look at